Well, good morning, everyone. So I've been giving a fair amount of consideration, as I'm sure everybody has, to what's going on. And I keep coming back to what I spoke about right at the beginning, fear. And I want to call it fear soup, because the situation we have now is that, in my advice which I gave, I still stick by, which is ground yourself. Do whatever you can to ground yourself. And if you're not able to go outside, the simplest thing you can do is to use your active imagination to imagine roots extending out through the soles of your feet, all the way down, as I'm doing, through the concrete of the building, through the flats beneath, through more concrete, through into the subsoil, and just feel myself connected to the ground. Just simple grounding visualization, very helpful. I do want to go into it a bit more about the fear. So as I see it, this is my take. The mainstream media are doing everything they can to frighten us, particularly about the virus, and the alternative and social media is doing everything they can do to frighten us too. And you've got everything from fear of the testing, fear of the vaccine, fear of 5G. It just goes on endlessly, doesn't it? There are so many things that people can, at the moment, choose to be frightened of. A lot of people are frightened of being too close to other people. All sorts of things to be frightened of at the moment. So if we just take that as our givenness at the moment, even if you are keeping yourself well grounded, we are all swimming in this fear soup, because there's millions and millions, billions, isn't there? Billions of human beings, and there's going to be a vast majority of them are completely given over to the fear at the moment. Now, this is going to be particularly troublesome for anyone who's got any empathic qualities. And the reason I'm making this film is a lot of people are getting in touch with me about fear, and in some cases they're really referring to fears that go back a very long way. Sometimes people have a sense of what the fears are, and other times they don't. They just know that it's getting overwhelming. So here's the thing. The time we're living in right now is a golden opportunity for us to go into acceptance of what is and what's going on. And it's like the human race, we're all going through the eye of a needle. I do just have to take a little deviation out. I've never spoken about Extinction Rebellion, but I feel I need to do so now, because in a sense the Extinction Rebellion is the exemplar of the ultimate arrogance of assuming that human beings are so powerful and we can destroy the earth and we can do this and we can do that. And I feel what's happened now, and it's interesting, I haven't heard a word about them since it all started. What you've got going on now is like the exact opposite, where people actually, one of the deeper fears might well be one of powerlessness, unable to do anything to affect changes. Like people might feel powerless in the face of the fear of the vaccine, or the fear of the virus itself, or the fear of the 5G, whatever it is. And my feeling is that's what the media, all of the media, are about, whether it's mainstream, alternative, or social. That's what it's about. And as I've mentioned this before, the golden ticket is just to connect with nature. And whether it's the plants in your home, or whether it's the plants outside when you're going out for a walk, whatever, that is so helpful. Connecting with nature in any way, shape or form just has this capacity in me to dissolve all that, and it just all drifts away and doesn't matter. So the issue about being empathic is picking up on other people's fear. So here's the thing. If you're experiencing any fear whatsoever, a helpful understanding is to realize that these fear thoughts are being deliberately provoked And although this sounds incredibly malicious, it's actually all for the ultimate benefit of us all, because what's happening is by all these fears being released, being stirred up in people, it's an opportunity for them to get out. So that really is what's happening. Is, I've said it before, but we're going through a global birthing process. And here's the other thing. This is really paradox. This is really shamanic. Nothing as it seems, because at the moment it seems like we've never been so separate. Because here I am in my little separate unit, and there's someone up there in their separate unit. There's someone down there in their separate unit. There's someone over there in their separate. We're in our little separate units, and it seems like there's so much separation, and yet anyone who works with plant medicines, anyone who goes into deep meditative states knows that what's going on is we've got a massive reunification going on at the moment. We are all connected. We are so connected. And so this is what the birthing process is about. It's about waking up to the fact that no one is actually completely on their own. So despite all evidence to the contrary, all physical 3 evidence suggests I'm completely on my own, and yet I'm not. I've just literally switched the Skype off, having a conversation with my partner all the way thousands of miles away off the coast of West Africa in Tenerife. And so we had an opportunity to connect as I'm connecting with you now. So my feeling is, let's use these devices, let's use these media methods that we have available to us to reaffirm the connection that we have with each other, and to realize that the forces of chaos and disorder are deliberately provoking the fear in the human race, and to remember that any fear thought that occurs, you don't own it. It's not yours. It's not mine. It doesn't belong to a particular person. It's actually the human race's fear thoughts being provoked and released. And every day at 7 p.m, but you can do it at any time at all, I'm doing the process which I described in the film, which I'll give you the link to underneath. And that's the way I'm choosing to do it. You can do it any way that you feel is appropriate. Just tune in whatever way you feel is appropriate. When you want to tune in, do it on a daily basis, I suggest. And just see or feel the fear coming out and being released and taken away. And it's also a helpful thing to realize that there are a lot of beings that don't have physical bodies, that are not limited to the earth. And they're well aware of what's going on, and they're doing their absolute best to help us, and I tune in with them whenever I do this work. So that's also worth remembering. There's one more thing I want to say about fear, which is one of the rather surprising side effects that can occur, and that's feeling tiredness, feeling fatigue. That can be a symptom that we may experience. We might feel more tired now than we have done for a very long time, and that's all to do with things coming out as well. So bottom line is, whatever you're doing, trust yourself, look after yourself. Fear thoughts that are arising are most likely not yours, but they're part of the fear soup that we're all swimming in at the moment. The fact that they're coming out is a really great sign, because before they were repressed. And when you've got repressed emotions, that is much more difficult in the long term, but it seems like it's okay in the short term. When you've got feelings being released, it's much more difficult in the short term, but it's going to give us such benefits in the long term. So ultimately, I'm advising you to have patience. Be patient with yourself, be patient with other people, especially be patient with other people who have completely given over to fear, who seem to be drowning it, swallowed in it, and coming up with perhaps all sorts of irrational views and demands. Just remember, when they're coming up with all their irrational views and demands based upon what they've been swallowing from the media of whatever form or shape, have compassion for them and Realize that's just their journey that they're on, and keep yourself away from all that brainwash, all that paranoia. And remember what good old Urquhart Tolle says, which is that what is going on right now in the moment. So right now in the moment, I'm making the film. I've got my cat's claw and rosehip here with the honey, and I'm going to make myself something to eat, and the sun is shining. I've got my plants next to me. Ground yourself, bring yourself back into the now with just what's going on. And if something that's going on you really don't like, then you've got the choice. You can either take yourself out of it, complain about it, or become transparent to it. And that's something that someone fed back to me yesterday, having a problem with other people making a lot of noise. I recently had that with a person upstairs. So they make a huge racket, and I remember myself, just become transparent to it. Just don't react to it. Don't react to someone's fear. Don't react to someone's noise. Just become transparent to it. Let it go, and just know that whatever we allow to let go moves on. So it's when you resist, things persist. When you let go, the change comes on, because that's it. We're always going through change. So let's be more relaxed in these times. Let's be more trusting of our inner sense, of our connection with each other, our connection with the source. We are in this most massive awakening process, and it always does seem darkest before the dawn. The things that I've read astrologically speaking, my goodness me, yes, well dark at the moment. Well to be expected that you could be feeling very tired, you could be aware of this fear. Keep yourself grounded and connected, and it's ultimately all about the love. It always isn't it? Because love always trumps fear. Love is letting go of fear. That's it. So enjoy your day. Find wherever you can in it to appreciate the littlest things. Thank you very much.